People of God, listen to me. Life may not always make sense to you right now, but I am here to tell you, keep trusting God. Keep trusting God, because He will make a way where there seems to be no way. You may not see the path, you may not feel the wind, you may not hear the sound of progress, but God is working behind the scene. When your back is against the wall and every door seems closed, when friends turn their backs, when your prayers seem unanswered, that is not the time to give up. That is the time to press deeper into trust. That is the time to stand on faith and say, God, even if I don't understand, I still trust you. You see, anyone can trust God when the sun is shining. Anyone can sing hallelujah when the road is smooth and the pockets are full. But true trust is proven when the clouds gather, when the night is long, when tears become your only language. That is where faith becomes real. That is where your relationship with God is tested, because it is in the dark that you see the stars. It is in the waiting that you discover the faithfulness of God. You may be sitting here today saying, man of God, I have prayed and nothing changed. I have fasted and still I see no way. Listen to me. The silence of God is not the absence of God. When God is silent, He is preparing something greater. When God hides His face, He is shaping your character. When the answer delays, it is because the miracle that is coming is bigger than what you imagined. You may not understand it, but one day you will look back and say, if that delay had not happened, I would not have grown. If that disappointment had not come, I would not have discovered my true strength. When you say you trust God, you are saying, God, I leave the outcome in your hands. You are saying, even if the result is not what I expected, I know it will still work together for my good. That is faith. Faith that walks when the eyes cannot see. Faith that stands when feelings collapse. Faith that believes that the same God who opened the Red Sea can open a way for you. The same God who raised the dead, who multiplied the bread, who healed the broken, that same God has not changed. His power is not old. His arm is not weak. His word has not expired. He is still making a way today. I know there are some people under the sound of my voice who feel forgotten. You have cried in secret. You have prayed until your voice broke. You have waited and waited. But listen, God has not forgotten you. Heaven is aware of your name. Your tears are not wasted. They are seeds on God's altar. Every tear you have shed, every night you could not sleep, every moment you kept trusting when it hurt, all of it is a testimony under construction. When the time comes, you will understand why you had to pass through the fire. Because the fire you are going through is not to destroy you. It is to refine you. It is to remove the impurities so that the gold of your faith can shine. God's way is not our way. Sometimes He will allow the situation to look impossible, so that no man can take the glory when the miracle happens. He will close every human door so that you can recognize the divine door. When he makes a way, you will know it is not by your strength, not by your wisdom, not by your connection, but by his mercy alone. You may be weak, but his strength is made perfect in weakness. You may be broken, but his hands specialize in broken things. You may be empty, but he fills the empty first. That is why you must not give up. Tell your neighbor, don't give up. Don't quit now. The same God who saw you through yesterday will see you through today. The same God who provided last month will provide this month. The same God who healed before will heal again. He is too faithful to fail. He is too consistent to change. When you walk with him, you may pass through valleys, but you will never be alone. The road may be rough, but grace will carry you. The night may be long, but morning will come. You may not know how, but he will make a way. Many of us want to see the blueprint before we believe. We want to understand before we obey. But that is not how trust works. Trust means letting go of control. Trust means taking your hands off the wheel and saying, God, you drive this life. When you trust him, you stop fighting battles that are not yours. You stop trying to force what God has not allowed. You stop crying over doors that he himself closed. You begin to say, Lord, I trust your process. Even when I do not see your plan, I trust your heart. Do you know why God sometimes delays the answer? Because he is training you. He is training your patience, your character, your humility. If he gave you everything you asked for the moment you asked, you would not mature. But when he makes you wait, he is making you strong. You may not like it, but you will thank him later. You will thank him for the things he did not give you when you wanted them. You will thank him for the people he removed from your life. You will thank him for the doors he closed, because those very things protected you from disaster. God knows what you cannot see. His denial is protection. His delay is direction. His silence is strategy. Listen to me. Faith is not pretending everything is fine. Faith is believing that even when everything is not fine, God is still in control. You may be crying, but keep trusting. You may be hurting, but keep trusting. You may not understand, but keep trusting. Because at the end of every dark tunnel, there is a light. And that light is the hand of God making a way. Some of you are sitting here facing situations that human reasoning cannot solve. Maybe the doctor said it's over. Maybe the bank said it's finished. Maybe the family said there's no hope. But let me remind you, man's report is not God's report. What is impossible with man is possible with God. You are not finished because the author of your story is still writing. When God writes, he does not use a full stop where man puts a comma. He will rewrite your destiny. He will change the verdict. He will surprise those who thought it was over for you. Sometimes God allows you to reach the end of yourself so you can begin to see the beginning of Him. Until you are empty, you will not know the value of being filled. Until you are weak, you will not understand the strength of grace. Until you fall, you will not appreciate His mercy that lifts. So if life has pushed you down, don't stay there. Get up again. Say, Lord, I still trust you. You may have lost everything, but don't lose your faith, because faith is the key that opens the door to the supernatural. When you keep trusting God, you become dangerous to the enemy, because no matter what the enemy does, you still praise, you still worship, you still stand. That is why the devil fights your faith, not your finances, not your health, but your faith. Because if he can steal your faith, he can steal your future. But when you keep trusting, even in pain, heaven celebrates you. Heaven looks down and says, that is my child. That is the one who loves me not for things, but for who I am. Look at your life. How many times did you think you wouldn't make it, yet you are still here? How many times did you think that problem would kill you, yet you survived? How many tears did you cry, yet you are still standing? That is not by your power. That is evidence that God has been making a way all along. Even when you didn't know it, He was fighting for you. Even when you didn't feel it, He was working for you. Even when you doubted, He remained faithful. The fact that you are breathing is proof that He is not done with you. If God was finished with you, you would not wake up this morning. The breath in your lungs is the signature of mercy. When life pushes you to your knees, that is the best position to pray. Don't complain. Don't curse your situation. Pray, trust, worship, because worship changes the atmosphere. When you worship in the storm, you confuse the enemy. He expects you to cry, but you praise. He expects you to quit, but you keep moving. That is the language of trust. Worship in pain, praise in tears, faith in silence. That is the life that moves the hand of God. There are people sitting here today who are about to give up on something. Your business, your marriage, your purpose, your dream. Don't give up. You are closer than you think. The darkest hour is just before dawn. God is not late. He is preparing the stage for your miracle. When He makes a way, it will not be small. It will shock your enemies. It will silence your critics. It will glorify His name. You will not need to explain yourself. The result will speak. Sometimes God hides you to preserve you. You may feel forgotten, but you are being protected. Just like a seed must be buried before it grows, you are not buried to die. You are buried to rise. The soil is not your grave, it is your womb. Out of that soil, something beautiful will come. Your pain has a purpose. Your delay has meaning. Your rejection is redirection. Keep trusting God. He will make a way. And when the way finally opens, remember, it was not your strength. It was not your wisdom. It was His mercy. Stay humble. Stay grateful. Don't forget the days you cried, because those tears watered your blessing. Don't forget the nights you prayed, because those prayers built your foundation. When you rise, rise with compassion. Help others who are still waiting. Encourage those who are still in the storm. Tell them, I have seen the hand of God, and I know He will do it for you too. You see, trusting God is not a moment, it is a lifestyle. It is not something you do when things are hard. It is something you live every day. You wake up and say, Lord, I trust you with my steps. You go to bed and say, Lord, I trust you with my dreams. You walk through the valley and say, Lord, I trust you with my pain. You climb the mountain and say, Lord, I trust you with my success. Because the same God in the valley is the same God on the mountain. He never changes. His love is constant. His mercy endures forever. So today, if you are facing a closed door, don't panic. If you are standing before a Red Sea, don't fear. If you are walking through fire, don't run away. Just say, Lord, I trust you. I don't know how, but I know you will make a way. Because the God who made a way yesterday is the same today and forever. His methods may change, but His nature remains the same. He is faithful. He is dependable. He is the way maker. And when the miracle finally comes, don't forget where it began. In your faith, in your trust, in your tears. You didn't get here by chance. You got here by grace. So lift your hands right where you are and whisper it from your heart. For Lord, I will keep trusting you. No matter what I see, no matter what I feel, no matter how long it takes, I will keep trusting you because you will make a way. There are moments in every life when nothing seems to move. You pray and the heavens feel silent. You plan and the doors remain shut. You push and the ground still feels hard. In those moments, it is easy to believe that life has stopped, that your destiny has paused, that heaven has forgotten your name. But the truth is this, what you call a waiting season, is often a building season in disguise. Waiting does not mean wasting. When God holds you still, it is never to punish you, it is to prepare you. He does not stop your motion, He strengthens your foundation. Because a weak foundation cannot hold a great future. Sometimes God slows you down so He can build you up. Sometimes He closes doors not to keep you out, but to build something inside you that no door can destroy. When the seed is placed in the soil, everything around it looks silent. No one applauds the darkness. No one celebrates the hidden process. But underneath that stillness, life is moving. Roots are growing where eyes cannot see. The seed is being prepared to break through the ground, not as it was, but as something new. That is what the waiting season does. It transforms you in the dark so you can shine in the light. There is a version of you that God can bless, and there is a version of you that He must first refine. The waiting season is where the refining happens. It is where you learn patience, humility, gratitude, endurance, the virtues that no classroom can teach. It is where you learn to trust God's hand when you cannot see His plan, because the road to maturity is never built on speed, it is built on surrender. You might look at others moving faster and think you are behind, but speed is not progress, growth is. A tree that grows too fast will fall with the first stone. A tree that grows deep will stand through every storm. So if God is taking time with you, it is because He is building depth. He is anchoring your roots so that when blessings come, you will not be destroyed by the weight of them. In the waiting season, God works on what people can't see. He strengthens your faith when no one is watching. He teaches your heart to forgive, your mind to focus, your spirit to rest. He builds your obedience, your discipline, your ability to stand when nothing feels certain. When life feels slow, heaven is not idle. Heaven is working on the inner man. And when the inner man is ready, the outer blessing will come with ease. Look at every person in history who carried greatness. Each of them passed through a silent season. David was anointed long before he was crowned. Moses waited decades before he led. Joseph dreamed as a boy, but ruled as a man. The valley always comes before the mountain. The quiet always comes before the call. So don't despise the silent season. It is the gym where faith builds its muscle. When you feel forgotten, you are actually being formed. When you feel delayed, you are being developed. The waiting is not empty time, it is sacred time. It is heaven's workshop. God is building patience into your spirit so that your character can carry your calling. He is building compassion so that your success will not make you proud. He is building endurance so that you will not crumble when the blessing gets heavy. Every day you remain faithful. In the small things, heaven adds another layer to your strength. You think you are waiting for the promise, but the promise is waiting for you to mature into the person who can hold it. God never gives blessings that destroy. If you receive it too early, it will overwhelm you. That's why He hides you, not to deny you, but to define you. You are not stuck. You are being shaped. You are not behind. You are being built. You are not forgotten. You are being forged for greater things. So if you are in a season where nothing seems to work, where doors remain closed and prayers seem unanswered, shift your perspective. Ask, what is God building in me here? Maybe He is teaching you consistency when results are slow. Maybe He is teaching you trust when logic fails. Maybe He is teaching you gratitude when blessings are few. Whatever it is, embrace the lesson. Because every delay has a divine design. All right, Here's the full 3,000 word expansion of keynote no 9. When you keep trusting, heaven keeps working. It's written in the live delivery, prophetic rhythm, and emotional flow of TB. Joshua, no headings, no ending sentences, just continuous spoken power. When you keep trusting, heaven keeps working. Listen to me, people of God. The problem is not that heaven has stopped working. The problem is that we have stopped trusting. The moment you give up in your heart, the flow of divine activity begins to slow. But when you hold on, when you stand in faith, when you whisper, Lord, I still trust you, even through tears, heaven moves again. Heaven responds to faith, not feelings. Heaven listens to trust, not complaints. There is a sound that faith makes in the realm of the Spirit. And when God hears that sound, angels begin to move, answers begin to form, doors begin to unlock. When you keep trusting, you keep that sound alive. Sometimes we think God has forgotten us because we do not see the result immediately. We think our prayer has bounced back because nothing changed overnight. But what you do not realize is that the moment you prayed, heaven started working. It may not show on the outside, but the operation has already begun on the inside. Heaven works silently, secretly, steadily. Just because you cannot see movement does not mean there is no progress. The seed buried in the soil looks still, but life is happening underneath. The womb looks quiet, but something is forming inside. When you keep trusting, you give heaven permission to finish what it started. Faith is not a button you press. It is a lifestyle you live. You don't say, I believe, only when things look bright. You say, I believe, even when the storm rages. Trust is the atmosphere where miracles breathe. When you stop trusting, you suffocate your own miracle. When you keep trusting, you give it room to grow. God works with trust because trust means surrender. Trust says, God, I can't do it, but you can. Trust says, I don't see it, but I know you are faithful. The moment you reach that point, heaven begins to align situations, rearrange people, and redirect events for your favor. It may take time, but it will not fail. There are many under the sound of my voice who are tired of waiting. You have prayed and waited, sowed and waited, believed and waited, and it feels like nothing is moving. But listen, the silence of heaven is not the inactivity of heaven. Heaven is never idle. God is always at work. Even in the seasons when you feel forgotten, He is working on hearts you have not met. He is preparing places you have not seen. He is arranging connections you have not imagined. You are looking at the clock. God is looking at the calendar. You count minutes. He counts seasons. When the season aligns, you will see that all the waiting was worth it. The difference between those who see miracles and those who don't is this: one keeps trusting until heaven finishes, the other stops halfway. The devil's strategy is simple. to make you give up before your time. He knows if you keep trusting, he cannot stop your blessing. So he sends disappointment, delay, discouragement, just to make you quit. But when you keep trusting, you confuse the enemy. You frustrate his plans. You make him realize he cannot stop what God has started. Because faith does not depend on circumstances, it depends on conviction. Circumstances change, but conviction stands. Do you know that while Joseph was in the prison, heaven was still working? While he was forgotten by men, he was remembered by God. Heaven was writing a story that no human hand could erase. Every lonely night in that cell was a page in the script of glory. When Joseph trusted, heaven kept working until the palace door opened. You may be in your own prison right now, a prison of delay, a prison of rejection, a prison of struggle. But if you keep trusting, that same heaven that worked for Joseph will work for you. God never sleeps. He never slumbers. He never shuts down his operation room. As long as you keep faith alive, the machinery of heaven keeps turning. Sometimes God delays to preserve you. If the miracle came earlier, you might not have been ready to carry it. Heaven works with timing, not your timetable. Trust bridges the gap between promise and manifestation. While you wait, heaven works on your heart. While you wait, heaven strengthens your patience. While you wait, heaven purifies your motives. That is why it is dangerous to give up too soon. Many people abort their own blessing because they could not wait. The road to manifestation is paved with patience. When you keep trusting, you allow heaven to complete its perfect design. Trusting God does not mean you understand everything. It means you accept that he understands everything. Heaven does not need your explanation. It needs your cooperation. When you keep trusting, you are agreeing with heaven's plan, even when it is hidden from your eyes. You are saying, Lord, I trust your wisdom more than my understanding. That is the language heaven recognizes. That is the sound that keeps the flow of divine power active. The moment you begin to doubt, you send mixed signals to heaven. But when you stay consistent in faith, the signal stays strong. Heaven keeps working as long as faith keeps standing. When you trust God, you rest. Rest is the evidence of trust. Anxiety is proof of doubt. When you are restless, you are saying, God, I'm not sure you can handle it. But when you are calm in the storm, heaven says, this one has faith. Remember when the disciples panicked in the boat, Jesus was asleep. His rest was his trust in the Father. When you keep trusting, you can sleep through storms. And while you sleep in faith, heaven works in power. Many of your greatest breakthroughs will come while you are resting in trust, not while you are worrying in fear. Heaven moves when you stop trying to control everything. There is a level of trust that provokes divine acceleration. When heaven sees you standing firm after all you have faced, It speeds up your testimony. Trust is the fuel of divine motion. Some of you have been crying for open doors, but the key is not more prayer. It is deeper trust. When you keep trusting, you unlock the next phase of heaven's operation in your life. Heaven cannot resist persistent faith. Heaven celebrates unshakable trust. Heaven is drawn to those who believe against all odds. The woman with the issue of blood kept trusting until she touched. The blind man kept shouting until he was heard. The centurion kept believing until the word was spoken. When trust continues, heaven continues. When you keep trusting, heaven assigns help you cannot see. Angels are dispatched. People begin to think of you without knowing why. Doors begin to open without explanation. Resources begin to locate you. Heaven works quietly but efficiently. You may not hear the sound, but you will see the result. Trust is the password to that invisible system. Every time you say, Lord, I still believe, something happens in the unseen realm. Something shifts, something breaks, something aligns. Heaven never ignores trust. Trust is the signal that tells heaven, keep working here. Many of you are in a season of hidden labor. You pray, you give, you serve, but you see no visible reward yet. Let me tell you, your harvest is being prepared in the invisible. When a seed is in the ground, you don't see it, but life is happening. The roots are spreading, the stem is forming, the strength is building. When the time comes, it will break through the surface suddenly. People will call it sudden blessing, but you will know it was years of hidden trust. Heaven has been working all along. The manifestation may look quick, but the process was deep. Trust keeps that process alive. Every act of trust is a deposit in your heavenly account. Every moment you refuse to give up adds another layer to your miracle. Heaven records your tears, your prayers, your patience. Nothing you do in faith is wasted. Heaven's system is accurate. It never forgets. When the fullness of time arrives, the result will come pressed down, shaken together, and running over. Some of you are one more act of trust away from the breakthrough you have been praying for. Don't stop now. Keep trusting, because heaven has not stopped working. Look at the pattern of God. Before he reveals, he refines. Before he lifts, he tests. Before he blesses, he proves. And during all those stages, heaven is working silently. The question is, are you still trusting? The moment you lose trust, you delay your own process. The oven cannot bake faster just because you are impatient. The bread needs its time. When you keep trusting, you let God finish his baking. And when he is done, it will come out perfect. The smell will attract blessings. The taste will testify of grace. Heaven never serves half-baked miracles. That is why trust is necessary. When you trust, you let go of fear. Fear and trust cannot live in the same heart. Fear says, what if it doesn't work? Trust says, Even if it doesn't work the way I expected, it will still work for my good. Heaven listens to the voice of trust and silences the noise of fear. When fear rises, heaven waits. When trust speaks again, heaven moves. That is why the greatest warfare you will ever fight is not outside you. It is inside you. The battle between fear and trust determines how much heaven can do. Keep feeding your trust. Keep starving your fear. Every time you choose to believe, heaven gets another order to proceed. Heaven's work is not bound by human time. You may think it's late, but heaven does not operate on deadlines. Heaven is eternal. God is never late, never early, always right on time. Trust keeps you synchronized with His timing. When you keep trusting, you stop comparing your journey with others. You stop asking, why me? And start saying, use me, use me. You stop complaining about the delay and start thanking God for the preparation. When your heart reaches that level, heaven knows you are ready. The miracle you have been waiting for will appear effortlessly because your trust has created the right atmosphere for it. Sometimes heaven works by removing things instead of adding them. Trust does not resist that. When you keep trusting, you say, Lord, even if you take it away, I still know you are good. Heaven sometimes must subtract before it multiplies. It prunes before it blossoms. And that pruning hurts, but it is holy. When you keep trusting through loss, you are declaring that your faith is not for sale. You are proving that your relationship with God is not a transaction. It is a covenant. That is the kind of faith heaven responds to with power. Heaven says, this one is ready for glory. Remember, trust is not passive, it is active obedience. When you keep trusting, you keep walking, you keep serving, you keep giving, you keep loving. You don't sit down in self-pity waiting for things to happen. You move by faith. Heaven works with movement. As long as you move in obedience, heaven moves in providence. The walls of Jericho did not fall because the people shouted. They fell because they kept walking around them day after day. Trust walks until heaven responds. Every step you take in faith is a message to heaven. I still believe. Heaven reads that message clearly. The greatest proof that heaven is working is peace in your spirit. When you keep trusting, even the storm cannot steal your peace. You walk through fire without the smell of smoke. You sit in the lion's den, yet you rest. That peace is heaven's signature. That peace is the evidence that unseen hands are handling what your eyes cannot. When you lose peace, check your trust. The moment trust is restored, peace returns, and heaven continues its work. Peace is not the absence of problems, it is the presence of trust. When trust stays, heaven stays active. Some of you think heaven works only when you are perfect. No, heaven works when you are surrendered. You don't have to have it all together. Just have faith. God is not moved by perfection. He is moved by trust. The brokenhearted who still believe move him more than the proud who boast. Heaven celebrates the weak who say, Lord, I still believe. That cry moves mountains. That cry shakes the throne of grace. That cry opens heavens that have been closed. Keep trusting, keep believing. Because every moment you trust, heaven continues to construct. When you look back years from now, you will see the pattern. Every time you chose trust over fear, heaven responded with favor. Every time you held on in silence, heaven released strength. Every time you refused to complain, heaven accelerated the process. It may not have felt like it, but heaven was working every second. The system of heaven never sleeps. The grace of God never expires. The only switch that turns it off is unbelief. As long as your trust switch stays on, heaven's machinery stays in motion. The lights of favor, mercy, and breakthrough keep shining over your destiny. When you keep trusting, heaven keeps working. This is the mystery of faith. Heaven does not move by need, it moves by belief. Many have needs, but few have trust. Heaven is full of answered prayers, waiting for faith to collect them. Your trust is the signature that receives what grace has already provided. Keep it alive. Keep it burning. Because as long as you keep trusting, heaven will never stop working